activity, which is super, because we know going forwards is never going to be his problem. So what we've got to do is to make sure that you have some connection of your seat and your leg, your voice and so on, and some kind of listening game with him first. And quite often just moving them sideways, playing around with the shoulder in, and maybe down the next long side, try and think of riding shoulder out. So for shoulder out, take a slight inner track, and you're going to be pushing him from your right leg, yep? So he might find this a bit difficult, but that's where you just communicate with him. Ooh, good boy. And then ride a 10-metre circle left, and then continue with the shoulder in. Because a little of it is him realising that the leg can go on and the hand at the same time can stay steady, and that you are there to look after him. So where he had the slight resistance because he found it difficult, that's fine. He can have that slight resistance, and we then put him on to, oh yeah, okay, I get it, it's easier. Okay, that's it. Okay, ready to try a little bit of trot work? Yep. Okay, so with your trot work then, just remember, set in your mind you want that 20% of leg on him before you go to trot. And if you feel he's going to go, woo, off we go to trot, that's absolutely fine, but still just quietly keep the leg there. And if you feel he gets a little bit quick, then you're going to find somewhere to turn him in this lovely school. So you're making yourself put the aids on, whether it's a turn into a leg yield or just a turn onto a circle. That's super. And remember keeping, you've got lovely, lovely still hands, which is great, but remember we are allowed to just gently use the fingers if we need to. And I would suggest riding some generous sort of half circle turns, so that there's never a chance for him to lock a little, yeah? And there's never a chance for you to, I call it a freeze frame. We sometimes ride and we think, oh, I quite like this, what do I do? And we therefore then do nothing and then wonder why the nice work disappears, yeah? So look around your surroundings more, yeah? Have a look over your left shoulder, decide where you're going next. Ride another circle, I would, that same size, and just say to yourself, am I actually supporting the circle and asking him to bend, yeah? I think you need to have a slightly stronger inside leg. Make sure the outside leg is gently there, turn the toe on the outside leg to the front slightly to secure your outside leg on him. And then on your next circle, maybe just try opening that left rein a little to the inside of the circle and just tickle a little bit the fingers on the left rein as you use your inside leg, super. And then a change of rein maybe, a figure of 8 or that snowman exercise we were doing. How does this feel?
Feels really quite good.
Yeah, it's lovely. I think the rider needs to breathe a little bit more often perhaps. And remember, it's fun.
Great.
That's it, yeah. And can you see there, you just release the inside rein a tiny bit, yeah? He has to trust that you trust your rein contact. So as long as you always have that security of your lower leg and a greater strength of security in the lower leg than we have weight in the rein, it's not so bad to do. So I think through that change of direction there, you planned it well, you sat very quietly for your change of diagonal, but maybe afterwards you should have asked him a little sooner to bend at the girth, yeah? And that can be through the smaller turn, through the push of the leg yield, yeah? Or thinking as you ride through your change of direction, asking a little shoulder in, yeah? Watch the rein length, remember, because as soon as the rein gets a couple of inches too long, we tend to bring our hands back and down, and I think he then thinks you're almost riding with a backward hand. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you understand you're not riding with a bad hand, but with him you've got to really be bold and ride the leg to the hand that is a receiving rein, a soft elbow, yeah? Push him more with the leg. When he doubts the rein contact, close the leg and just lighten the elbow a little bit. Let the elbows lighten. So it's a real game. It's a, you know, your challenge is how pliable can I have him in front of the leg? Well, he needs to be pliable. See, this is a super little bit of bend coming to the right, and when you're ready, plan that little bit of bend to the left. Little tickle on the left rein, super left leg, yeah. Soften left rein a little, keep the rising quite slow. Remember, he just hurries his tempo, doesn't he, when he chooses. And then, in your time, maybe just take a couple of walk to trot transitions with him. Super trot coming there. Good transition. Use the walk to check how you are sitting, check the tempo of the walk, that feeling of sitting tall, and just check, have I relaxed enough through the seat, through the thigh, and am I ready to maybe think about, as I move up to my trot transition, tiny little bit of leg yield into it, so the leg is connected. Well done. And then maybe whilst you're riding your trot on him, let's play around and see if we can just get him to stretch down. Remember yesterday we tried to get him to stretch a little in the trot. Ordinarily we'd do that maybe you know, after a canter, but let's see if you can almost imagine you want to use a circle of around 15 metres, and remember you may well have to slightly almost over flex his neck a little bit as you apply those inside aids, and make sure that the outside rein is soft enough not to drop the outside shoulder contact, but try and envisage that the reins are like little bamboo poles and you're going to push his nose down to the ground. Yep. If we just let go of the reins, he's just going to flop, and we want that length of the neck. Lovely. That's it. And almost with your right rein, almost slightly say flex, as if you're going to really press with the right leg, and you're going to take your right hand to the centre of the circle. Yeah. So you make him release a little bit at the jowl. Yeah. That's it. Keeping the tempo, and ask him again like this. Almost look at me, Julian. Almost say and flex, and then release. Yeah. So count 21 and release. Yep. It might seem as if I'm telling you to pull him around. It's not a pull, it's just a come on. Almost like you know, if you were going to lead him in the stall and you want to turn him around the wrong way and pull him around quickly. There, get him to bend. There. You get the idea?
Yep.
So now you're doing that. He can now get his inside hind leg in under him, because you're using a good amount of inside lower leg to support. Yep. And he shouldn't feel heavy in the right hand. If he feels heavy in the right hand, then just release the elbow and realise you're not pulling to hold him. You're giving a gentle pull to the right as you use your legs to say, come on, relax your lower jaw, give and take and give. And then see there, if you get that moment of pushing both hands forwards, if we can get the stretch through the neck. Super. How does that feel? Well done, you. Yeah. So it's like you've got to be really quite strict to not allow yourself. Just remember that word, freeze frame. We sometimes on a lovely horse like his think, oh, I don't know what to do, so I'll just passenger. Yeah. And he's going to be very happy for you to just passenger. The difficulty with that is he will develop his own way of going because he doesn't know what you want. Yeah. Lovely, well done. So no faster than this, yeah, because this is a super tempo for a working trot, yeah. And then see what happens. get the trot as soft as we can. Yeah. Now this is a really good, what I call developmental trot for him, yeah? You've got to envisage you want him to keep his hind leg on the ground and use the whole of the hind foot, not just go flick flick off the front of his hind toe and run. How's he feeling?
Amazing.
Good. Okay. And if you're okay, if you're both still okay, let's from this position now just move into canter, keeping him on the circle. And remember, like yesterday, what we did was we sort of went, okay, he's going to have a big canter. Let's maybe come off his back a little bit. But where you're taking his head and neck now in your trot is where we need the head and neck to be in the canter. So let's be brave and let's try not to go canter and let go of the front end. Let's see if we can stay posting, stay rising, ease to the canter, and if you need to twiddle the ring fingers on both hands, alternatively, into the canter to slightly keep his head and neck positioned down long and low, yeah? You're getting a much better length of your trot stride now, aren't you? Twiddle him, stay light, yeah, good. Slightly stronger leg aids if you can, just to help him be convinced. Well done. And when you're ready, start to very gently try and have a tiny bit of weight softly on his back. Well done. And think rhythm, keep quite a strong closed outside leg. Well done. Could you feel out here, he just starts to lose his balance, didn't he? Yeah. Okay. And so just quietly resettle the trot, then we try it again. So when you're riding him on a circle, remember that in a way the outside aids are the aids that have to drive the circle. So by that I mean, imagine you've got a secret army here, because you know he's okay on that bit, but here he's losing balance because he doesn't have the security of the fence. So on this arc of your circle, those outside legs have got to be like a little wall.
Okay.
And we'll see if we could get that canter again. And it doesn't matter if it's only half a circle, it's about the quality and taking that decision to either increase your aids to the canter or ride a transition. Super. 1, 2, 3. Are you breathing enough?
Yep.
Good. Outside leg. A little less bend in his neck to the right if you can. Now, if you're okay to keep this canter, then ride a trot transition, and then in a moment we'll put him up to the canter again.
So, sorry, come back to trot.
Yeah, have a trot. Okay. And what we're going to do now is on your canter circle in a moment, I'm going to get you to try, as you come through this arc of the circle, to try a tiny bit of counter flexion to the outside.
Okay.
So your leg aids will still be thinking right canter. And when I say counter flexion, don't really bend him, but almost have him straight as you come across this imaginary centre line. And you may find he drops from the canter to the trot, so be ready to just have the firm leg aids nursing the canter rhythm. Remembering that you're brushing his coat forwards to the rein contact. Okay, a little bit of bad luck. Okay, so gently sitting on your bottom and keep the firm leg aid nursing. Flex him that way slightly, tweak on the left rein. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, strong outside leg, well recovered. Okay, give him a big pat. Okay, could you feel anything different happen here? Could you feel anything different happen here?
It felt better there when you
Yeah, because what we did was we got him to canter, and he's can you feel from yesterday he was like this in the canter?
Yeah.
Today he's like this, yeah?
Yeah.
So the balance is he's going to look, they say, oh, well, he's on his forehand. Well, yes, he is a little bit, but actually he needs to get over his back first.
Right.
Yeah. And what we're doing on this arc here is by riding that little tiny bit of sort of counterflexion, you're actually straightening him.
Okay.
Because he copes with the canter if you have him slightly over round. And I think you've got to do that so that actually you feel he can sit on his back in the canter. Then the next stage is to be able to canter him. And I say counterflexion, but what we're doing is we're actually bringing him so that the head and neck are straight. Yeah. And he managed it, didn't he? And you should have almost felt, oh wow, actually, yeah, that's the canter we need.
Yeah.
So that he can be straight. And where this needs to go, and I think we ought to try it today if you're happy to, let's see if we can get a right canter, and then imagine, turn him in plenty of times so you come down a line from where the gate is, so we haven't got the rails influencing us, yeah? So you sort of canter, imagine a half circle onto an imaginary line down here, yeah?
Yeah.
When you're on that imaginary line, now the first time you ride the straight line down there in the canter, you may find he breaks. Yeah? If you feel he's going to break, simply circle away. So imagine you're riding an oval shape. Yeah?
Okay.
And on the straight side, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and think of keeping that canter and straightening the head and neck. And what that will do is that will then make him lift his back and use his belly, which is why he'll go, oh, I'm going to fall apart.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but you've got to be able to get his canter so that you're doing like you are now, where you're just sort of teasing and playing, so you both find your balance.
Okay.
Yeah, should we try that?
Yeah.
So it could be a case of maybe a trot circle down here, establish your right canter. I'm going to go stand down there so I can yell at you.
And should I be in forward seat?
I would try to go to start him as you did, yeah. And if you feel that you can maintain the quality of the canter you just got, sitting in the saddle and do. But as soon as you feel, oh, actually he's going to revert back to old canter, then rather than have a battle with him at this stage, maybe come out of the saddle a little and just do that little twiddle to distract him from going back to that inverted canter. Yeah. So I think it'd be wrong to say which seat to be in, because you can feel well
Yes.
the canter. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you'll probably feel it quicker than I'll see it.
Yeah. And that's why when I was trying to adjust myself,
Yeah.
he fell apart on me.
Yeah.
Because I stopped helping him.
That's it. You've got it. And I honestly think he's potentially, as I said yesterday, someone's done a super job with him, but they've possibly done it quite quickly. And that isn't always sustainable
Right.
if that same person isn't then continuing that work.
Right.
And this is why I think you and him have almost got to come back maybe to basic stuff that is, in a way, lower than his level of education might be. But actually, it is always the foundations that improve, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you see all the big dogs doing dressage, and you ask most sort of the big trainers what's their most useful exercise, and they'll say transitions. And you go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We expect them to say, oh, my tempo changes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you just quietly take your time to do your canter. I'll go stand down here.
Okay, Dale. Still working, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Good boy.
Okay, so if possible, and if he'll accept it, then we have you so that you're sitting in the canter with a light, as in light in the weight seat, coming on that straight line towards me.
Okay. So do one circle first, right?
I would, yes, just to establish the rhythm. So that then as you turn him onto this imaginary quarter line, you want to be turning him onto it through the outside aids, pushing him onto it, almost as if you're riding a canter pirouette to the right. well done. Okay, so starting to have a look at planning your quarter line. That's good. And gently flex him that way. Flex the neck, that's it. So yeah, super. Sit on your bottom a little bit more. And then again up the next long side, counter flex him a little. Lovely. Okay, and when you're ready, have a rest. Because he then starts to become a bit leery. That's it. Flex him a little bit more. I think you have to have a little bit more weight if you can in your rein contact, yeah? So you are now supporting him. Hold him with the lower leg, keeping the thigh soft. And again, a little bit of a squeeze down your left rein, but keep the leg on him. Flex his neck, that's it, yeah, flex him that way. Let go with the right rein. Let go with the right rein more. Sit back on your bottom. Outside leg, outside leg. Okay, well done. Big pat. Let him have a stretch.